World Tree Productions presents the +1 Eco Odyssey, a new reality TV series highlighting 7 amazing young eco-entrepreneurs from across the globe who are competing to win a $50,000 prize and a 12-month mentorship to scale their business. This season is all about water, our most precious resource. Watch as these entrepreneurs tell us what they are doing to solve the climate crisis from their corner of the world. We'll feature youth eco-innovations that address shark conservation, ocean garbage cleanup, and fast fashion.
We started this company as students. We saw the problem of sort of garbage in the water, the fact that there's an environmental and commercial problem that we can solve.
So the removal of apex predators can really push an ecosystem out of stability and cause havoc for everything else in our ecosystem, including humans. With 100 million sharks being killed every year, our biggest goal is to keep sharks safe.
So it is kind of funny that I'm now running a water sustainability business. I got such benefits from water, and in a way, I'm kind of giving back to what helped me.
Well, the apparel industry is the second largest polluter in the world, so it says a lot to how polluting fast fashion is.
So we're looking to replace stretchy fibers. Through its production is carbon negative, net zero waste, uses zero fresh water and zero toxic chemicals.
Plus, solutions for irrigation and agriculture.
Hello, my name is Ivan Cho. I'm from South Korea. I developed a clean water solution that can be provided to the farmers all around the world.
Gen Z can make the world where a future is guaranteed.
We are helping the farmers struggling from the water shortage, and their yield improved like 15%.
I've always had the privilege to always have easy access to clean water sources. A lot of people having to walk long distances to access this fundamental right, it really opened my eyes to how opposing our realities can be on other sides of the globe. Once a sensor has been inserted into the ground and only irrigate when the lawn needs to be irrigated. We as Gen Z and young change makers want to make change. We are the future of the world. In order to ensure that we make the change that we want to make happen, we must start now.
Cheer on our Gen Z contestants as they compete in a fun challenge each episode, and where a panel of judges will rank them from 1 to 7, highest to lowest, on the +1 leaderboard.
Today we meet Sid from Hong Kong, who has developed an AI-powered robot to remove garbage from polluted lakes, rivers, and oceans.
Sid Gupta is on a mission to remove garbage from critical waterways and oceans using AI-controlled robots.
We started this company in 2019 originally as students. We were looking for a way to get a free trip to Bali, and our university had a little fund that paid for your flights if you did a project abroad. So we went down to Bali and we saw that the locals were kind of cleaning up garbage in the water by hand. And we got to speaking to them and we found out that in Bali, basically dirty beaches means tourists don't come to those beaches, and then locals lose out on income. So it's a very real situation, and they didn't have any better tools to collect the garbage from the water. And so that's where the idea of Clearbot was born. Our first prototype was put together in Bali with local materials, aluminium bars and some toy helicopters for propulsion, and they liked it. And at this point it was still an idea, not a business. When we came back to Hong Kong, we saw that the government of Hong Kong uses petrol and diesel-powered boats with a crew of 3 people to go around and literally fish for waste. And on a carbon basis, they were creating more pollution than they were cleaning up because of all the petrol they were burning. That's when we saw that the opportunity to actually have something that was environmentally impactful, commercially feasible, and we actually got into work on Clearbot full-time.
This young robotic genius was driven to help society and was recognized with numerous awards for his inventions and an invitation to speak at the prestigious Ivy League United Nations Conference.
lot of us already know what the World Health Organization is, but in this committee, what we basically discussed was the double burden of disease and child health in the developing world.
Siddhant Gupta, the creator of India's smallest robotic arm, believes that robotics is the future. From a young age, Siddhant was bitten by the bot bug and has been creating various types of robotic models which performs various tasks.
Last year, I made a robot that had, it was actually a robotic head. So it had eyes, it had a mouth, eyebrows, and they all moved to a sensor. So if you blocked its eyes, it would look around and it had a screen where it would display what are you doing. I made screens, LCD screens. I've made motion sensors. I mean, there are loads of things.
Who all supported you in this endeavor? They encouraged you. What did they do?
My parents were really encouraging. Now, my father owns a company and it's a factory basically. They make car parts, and that's where I got inspired. I used to see these machines and I thought that I'll make one of my own one day. From the start, although they always wanted me to do better and better in this because they thought it was good for me. Yeah, I think I owed everything to them.
When I was 16, I broke a national record in India for building a robot. Came up with the idea because my parents kept comparing me to like some of my friends, and I got really annoyed and I was like, okay, I'm going to break a world record. I put this crazy kind of goal with no sense of scale of like how big or small that was, and because I had no sense of scale and slowly started working towards it, I ended up breaking a national record. So because for me it was a very shocking experience that because I tried, I actually managed to get somewhere with it.
Siddhant is now off to Hong Kong to learn more about robotics in the next 4 years.
Hey guys, I'm Utkarsh. I'm Sid and we're the co-founders of Clearbot. I met Yuji in university. We did a lot of like weird engineering projects together, and then we eventually started this company in Hong Kong, which you can see around us.
Professor Hayden So, I'm Associate Professor at the Department of Electrical and Electronic Engineering at Hong Kong U. I taught Sid when he was first year. I'm really proud of them because learning things from the textbook is one thing, translating it into a technology is another thing, and then making the technology profitable and actually beneficial to the world. Sid basically collapsed everything and managed to bring the technology all the way from classroom into fruition, into a real company doing real good things, and I think that's the part that I'm most proud of.
A big part of me wanting to join Clearbot is because I found a person who is naturally driven to do things. I think we had very, very unique skill sets. Siddhant has a great way of convincing people about things, has a lot of ego, but knows his shit. So I guess you get the ego with knowing how to do your stuff.
My co-founder and I were both engineers at the University of Hong Kong, and our expertise is in robotics. Incidentally, the two of us worked on a project that built the world's fastest robotic fish. So we had a lot of exposure to underwater robotics, and when we saw the problem of sort of garbage in the water, the fact that there's an environmental and commercial problem that we can solve.
Cleaning the oceans today is actually a very difficult and expensive thing to do. The idea of Clearbot is to bring a swarm of robots that can collect trash out for people who need it. So our idea is, okay, can we build a system of boats that basically go out on their own, collect the trash for us and bring them back. And then the idea is someone just needs to put up the money to set the system up, and it works on its own. It constantly brings back the trash for us. We don't need to be dependent on slow-moving governments. We can actually get communities, corporates, companies to keep their own water clean. I believe that the right way to tackle the environmental issues are to actually build sustainable, profitable businesses around them. The ocean space hasn't seen innovation over the last 100 years, but I think that's really going to change over the next decade. And we want to be at the forefront of that.
Hi everyone, behind me is probably some of the dirtiest water that the Clearbot team has had to deal with. And today we have our Clearbot here, and we're going to start cleaning this mess up. Oh damn, look at that, man. Crazy, look at this. This is wild, bro. What? Awesome. Just Clearbot on its way home after cleaning up paradise. So heavy.
And how will a robotics engineer or a person who's interested in robotics actually contribute to the society?
You have a lot of situations where the right care is not available for a person. Let's say the doctors in the United States cannot reach the person in India. Therefore, the person does not get the right care. In a lot of cases, we see people dying. Now, robotics, for example, you could actually build a robotic arm. So you could essentially conduct an entire surgery from 10,000 miles away.
The Clearbot is, first of all, solar charged and battery powered, so it doesn't produce any emissions while running in the ocean. Number two, it's unmanned, which means it can actually be run with a radio control, but it can also run completely on its own. So it has sensors on board that can detect the world around it, it makes sense of it, and it can drive around on its own. And it's remotely operated, so you can sit anywhere in the world and turn on a Clearbot and get it to go out and do its mission. Let me show you how Clearbot uses AI to generate data about garbage in the water. This is our online dashboard, and for each of our clients, they find out how much garbage they've collected on any given day, what kind of waste is most common, what days we've done an operation, and for each operation, they actually get granular data into the location a piece of garbage was collected, what material. Another gap that we saw was, you can clean all the water in the world, but how do you solve the problem at source? And the big issue is there's not enough data available today for people to fully understand the ocean problem and then regulate the materials that are causing it. And so every time Clearbots go out into the water, we take photographs of every piece of garbage that we collect. Our machine learning system labels that, tells you what material it is, whether it's a bag or a bottle, what's its level of disintegration, and so on. And all of that data goes back to our clients. And why that's helpful is you can have NGOs and government departments using that data to actually bring in policy and make better decisions that affect things at source. So with Clearbot, we've gone from PowerPoint presentation to first boat to 10 boats in the last 2 years. Over the next 2 years, we're trying to scale up from 10 boats to 100 boats. We've already started expanding to India. We should be setting up in Saudi Arabia, Singapore over the next year. We've also started to scale up the size of the boat. So we've got a new version in India that can do 1.5 tons on board. The boat is like the size of a small bus. And additionally, we're also getting the boats to do a lot more. So our new boats can remove vegetation, like invasive vegetation. They can collect garbage, oil. They can do scans of the seabed, and they can go out much further out into sea than our current version can. So the idea is to make it bigger, to increase the number of machines out there, and to really start scaling up the business across geography as well. One of the most unique aspects of our innovation is on the legal side. So unmanned boats aren't technically regulated. There's no legal framework that exists to recognize them. And so a lot of the work we've done is actually innovating on the legal side, which is helping governments work with private class societies and actually come up with regulation and regulate these machines. So we're one of the first companies in the world to have licensed boats in the water in many different parts of the world. We're one of the first companies to get insured boats, which is super important if you accidentally bump into a $100 million yacht to have insurance. So we're one of the first insured unmanned boats out in the water today. And so we're trying to innovate, both on the technical side and the legal side of things, because that's how the industry as a whole is going to kind of move ahead. Being in a co-working space and an incubator has really, really helped our business. In Hong Kong, one of the biggest challenges for startups is just renting office space, because this city has some of the most expensive real estate on the planet. Having the co-working model, especially for a hardware company like us, it's very difficult to innovate in an office building. We need a workshop, we need large spaces. It actually allows us to have a lot more space while still allowing us to be able to afford things, because we can share resources with other people. Number two is we get access to a lot of network. So there's events that happen here. We meet clients, we meet investors. Very often they're here to meet maybe some other startup, but we'll get to know them, and that's great. And finally, I think being around other companies also means that we get to learn from them and they get to learn from us. And very often sharing those resources is a win-win. Definitely being in an incubator and a co-working space has meant the difference for us between not existing as a company simply because we couldn't afford the fixed costs, to being able to have this company because we didn't have to worry about the fixed costs early on. During COVID, we actually initially produced our boat in China, but China went into lockdown and we were looking for somewhere else to produce our machine. And so, well, first of all, bias, we're Indian. We are both Indian. And then just because we have personal connections there, and COVID was, nobody professionally would support you and we were like a tiny startup. So we ended up going to India and manufacturing out of India. When the economy started opening up after COVID and we were looking for a place to expand, we were already manufacturing in India. It just seemed like the natural next step to sell there. in parallel, we saw a huge demand from the Indian government. And we see this not just in India, but really across Southeast Asia. Most developing countries are now looking at their water very seriously. So it kind of aligned on a personal level, as well as, I guess, resources level, as well as a market level, and so it is.
I think at the end of 8th standard, during the holidays, I started to try and fix little circuits together, motors, simple things like that. I basically learnt off the internet. Slowly and steadily, I learnt more and more. Yeah, it took me, I think, a week. Basically, the robot's structure is actually the parts themselves. It's the servo motors make up the legs, and they're held together by strong epoxy resins that basically dry up. The motherboard makes up the body of the robot.
Sure, so prototyping is one of the most painful processes of trying to figure out a product, right? And what you want to do is do it quickly, fail fast, iterate, and get it right. Some of the components we make are very complex. If we had to produce a mold or get them machined, they would cost us thousands of dollars for each component, and we may not even know whether we've got it right on the first try. With 3D printing, what we're able to do is take all the components on our products, put them through iterative cycles, break them, get it wrong quickly, so that we can go from idea to high quality execution super fast.
Hi everyone, I'm Milind. I am the new robotics engineer at Clearbot. Clearbot's a fast-paced company, you know, they go from one product to the next and it's always in a phase of R&D, and that's really fun. Like, you get to actually work on new problems regularly.
It has values and attitude. Values mean you fundamentally believe the same things. Attitude is how you actually decide to execute on that. Like, task conflict should not lead to personal conflict. So you can severely disagree about things, but you agree that this does not equal to this relationship not working.
The team is amazing. It still has maintained that a close-knit team that's working towards a mission, you know, everyone's excited and passionate about what they do, and that's it's a contagious feeling. I really feel like coming into work every day.
The day we have a billionaire who's made their billions saving, the climate or saving the economy, that is when we are truly building a great infrastructure for the environment that's sustainable.
I would say to any Gen Z entrepreneur, it's very interesting when you start a sustainable business because people help you out for no reason. But when you're doing a business that creates good, people will just help you and expect nothing in return. We've had really senior people at big companies just go out and do amazing things for us with no expectation and no return for them, just because we were doing something good. I think if you're Gen Z and you're doing this, go out and do it, because you'd be amazed by the amount of support you get.
And what is your message to all the people out there who feel they're too young to achieve things, because you're already an achiever and you got into the Limca Book of Records? Tell us.
I tell them never give up. No matter what, if you try, if you are ready to learn, you will achieve the impossible.
I'm on a journey, and that everyone has their own journey. If you're on your own journey, at least you want to live that journey right? So if you're doing something, think about why you're doing it. Is this what you want to be doing? And your journey can really be anything. If you do that, you will know why you're making choices. And so that makes you less uncertain. It helps you believe in your own journey. It helps you create a story for yourself, where you came from and where you want to go. Taking this crazy idea I had, working on it, and actually getting somewhere. That drove a cycle for me to be able to do that again and again. If you have an idea, execute it, try it. Even if you do it totally wrong, you will still learn more than if you talked about it to 15 people but really didn't execute it, nothing. It creates a really good sense of self. It makes you feel in control of your life.
Here's how the leaderboard scoring works. A score of 1 equals 10 points, a score of 2 equals 8 points, and so on until a score of 7, which equals 1 point. Sometimes we'll spice things up with a mini challenge. Contestants that receive a perfect score of 30 or win a mini challenge will receive 10 extra bonus points, which can make all the difference in this competition. The judges will rank each contestant from 1 to 7 on their performance, best score to worst, on the +1 leaderboard, based on how complete, concise, and compelling their answers are. Let's meet the judges. Shannon Crone is managing partner at Ernst & Young, an Ironman triathlete, and EY Entrepreneur of the Year Award judge. She's joined by Will Sarney, a world-renowned water expert, author, and founder of Water Foundry Ventures, and Dr. Nusha Ajami, Chief Strategy and Development Officer at Lawrence Berkeley Lab, and an expert in water policy and innovation. This week's challenge is called the Hot Seat, where each contestant gets 60 seconds to answer a specific question. You're the owner of an eco-water business that's 1 year old. You have self-funded the business so far and are just starting to see customer sales, but have not yet reached a break-even point. You're spending more than you are bringing in. What will your approach be to shore up your financial picture over the next 12 months?
I think what's most important is to show a clear path to profitability, not necessarily that we have profitability right now. And so I would go back and look at my costs, understand where am I making my biggest losses and are they justifiable, number one. So usually that would mean I'm investing into R&D or something that has a longer term return. And number two, I need clear quantification. I need to show clear quantification on what the revenue outcome will be and why I'm going to be profitable. And that has to be evidenced by the sales that we've already started booking. So what I'm going to do is take our financial picture, show investors clearly why the costs we have today are justified. Number two, that we can make a profit. And number three, the unit economics of that are already being proved with our current contracts.
It's exactly what they're going through, right? They're self-funded businesses for the most part. How do you shore up financials over the next 12 months with the thought that perhaps maybe one day you will be going to an investor?
I really appreciated all the contestants' responses. Contestants who have had startups that have been running for multiple years, I'm sure they have already dealt with some of these issues and had to handle the challenges between revenue versus cost and to make sure they can break even eventually.
I really thought Sid's answer was spot on in terms of really thinking about how do you manage basically a cash crunch. And most startups run out of money. And they run out of money because once they start raising capital, they believe that they've got enough to meet their sales projections going forward. Really taking a hard look at what your overhead is, your burn rate, and using that as a basis for really reducing overhead down as much as you can is really smart and prudent. That doesn't mean you don't pursue sales or think about long-term investments, but you really have to reduce your burn rate.
If we're 1 year old, so first of all, I'd want to say I wouldn't be too concerned that we haven't hit break even yet because we're only 1 year old. What should be more important is the fact that our margins in the next coming year are impeccable and are something that we are really proud of, but you have to give us the time to be able to let our business grow, allow the economies of scale to reach the point of which we will have broken even. What's validating is that we have customers that want our product, that need our product, because we've already been able to show that through the sales so far. And so based on just our own trajectory of our partnership with these companies already, I have no doubt that we'll be able to get to those break-even points in the near future.
A response focusing on what really matters, customers and your spreadsheet, and make sure your trajectory is in a positive direction and you can eventually break even.
First, I will look in the past 1 year what we did. I want to understand why the expense is higher and why we are not getting the customer in the right way. So for that, I will identify who is our target customer and which is the focus area and where we will focus. So for example, for this next 12 months, I will identify the location which is the customer is more influencer, more related to our problem and near to the target, and the area where we have enough connection or network, and also identify some local CSR funding or local organization who is supporting those kind of the sustainability. So in the first 1 year, I will try to bring this money and survive.
Ryan, he talked about using data from the past year to help determine who his customers were and where his expenses were, and really diving into each of those and seeing, are they the right customers? Those that will continue to come back, perhaps refer other customers to you, starting to look at where to maybe make adjustments. On the expense front, it's important to know what your expenses are that you can cut from the business to make yourself more efficient.
So over the past few years, when eCode has just run as a project and not an actual product, my approach has been self-funding and bootstrapping this through attending many pitch competitions and different accelerators without bringing in an investor yet, as I was really interested in expanding the company as much as possible on my own and then look for outside expertise. This summer, I plan on doing pilot programs with a few cities in the US, and this will allow me to receive a large amount of funding from those cities and also start getting a solid commercial customer base for Drizzle and eCode. So this is one of my main plans for this summer, to solidify a really good customer base and also break even by the end of this year. Residentially, Drizzle only needs to sell 200 residential kits to break even on that investment as well.
She took a planned approach to how she thought she would grow and develop the business ahead of bringing on any investors. You want your investors to see that you have a strong business model, got some experience, and how you've been able to lead a business such as hers and be successful at it.
After the 12th month, compared to the past years, I will just move straight forward to sell the crops or to contact the farmers that we have to use these water eco solutions and put a brand image on the crops that they are selling on the packet, so that we can get some of the margins while they are selling these crops, and we can get some of the margins proportional to what they sell these amounts. So since we just did R&D investments on the previous 1 year, we will try to pivot these movements toward the farmers, reaching out to the farmers in the local Houston area, and we'll try to say that the farmers should use these eco solutions to scale up their eco products that they are trying to give to customers. And we'll try to do marketing that you have to buy these crops that we have a brand image logo on it.
With respect to Ivan, in some ways, I believe he has sort of the classic startup entrepreneur mindset, which is got a great value proposition. We're going to sell direct to the customer, in his case, farmers, and that's going to get us through when in fact most startups, that is, will run out of money. So really key question in the scheme of things.
There was two main approaches that I would take. The first one is I would look at, we're spending more than we're taking in, so we need to look at what we're spending and identify what's actually necessary for the basic functions of the business, because you want to, in the short term, ensure survival. The flip side is we are getting sales, but we're not getting enough. So then we also now have to go and try and, drum up extra sales. So that would be a combination of, marketing activities. Obviously, the ideal would be not paid for marketing, because we are currently in a situation where we're running out of funds. But it would be a combination of ensuring the initial survival by reducing costs, but then looking out to drum up further sales. And in that scenario, also the type of sales you go for, the larger corporate tend to be longer sales cycles. So we would look at some short-term ones just to plug the gap in the interim.
I really appreciated Greg's comments on how it's important to focus on what is essential for their survival versus what can be let go. You're spending your money on what matters, and you need to prioritize marketing or invest in R&D, which is super important.
I think that in the current climate that we're under, there's massive interest in funding innovative solutions to climate change, water crises, and all those sort of things. So I think generating a really impactful pitch for funding is my first step. Really make the business look appealing to potential funders and accelerator programs that might be interested in pushing the business, funding, becoming angel investors, or in funding in any possible way, and pushing it in that light. The second thing is, I think marketing really has a massive role in getting your name out there. So I'd definitely put energy into ramping up the marketing to broaden our reach and to generate more interest in the innovation.
So I thought Kezia had a really strong response about how to focus on marketing and get some more funding. I don't know, though, that it answered the question about shoring up business financials.
Here are the contestant results for this week on the +1 leaderboard.
Let's go.
Wow, look at the leaderboard. There are 4 contestants within 1 point of each other. There's a mini challenge this week. Today, we'll have 2 mini challenge winners. Each contestant was given 24 hours to create their video origin story. What inspired them to become an entrepreneur and solve wicked water problems? They were then instructed to post the video on our YouTube channel and try to get the most comments cheering them on in a 24-hour period. We awarded 2 contestants with 10 points. The most creative video was awarded to Kezia! Congratulations!
Hi, my name's Kezia, and this is my origin story. From a very young age, me and my family spent every single weekend at the beach. And as I got older, all I wanted to do is spend every single moment in the water. At the age of 19, I sailed from South Africa to Spain, and this really solidified my journey.
And the contestants with the most comments posted to their video was Narayan! Scan the QR code to see all of our contestant origin stories. Let's see how the mini challenge affects their overall performance. Congratulations, you two! You've now taken the 2nd and 3rd spots on the leaderboard. Great work! And Sid received the perfect score and earned 10 additional points. Looks like he'll be the one to beat.
Kelp forests are incredible. They hold so much life and diversity. Seal species, but also fish species, use the kelp forests as a refuge. So we really wanted to design the shark-safe barrier to mimic the kelp forest in all its ways.
We have 6 more episodes for your favorite contestant to make it to the semifinals. If you want to help them, subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's free. And follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and more. We want to hear your comments. Who's your favorite contestant? See you next week.